We talked about this earlier. We can't trust everything that AI puts out. We want to use AI, it's a tool, but we
Right.
can't trust everything. So how do you navigate, or what's your high level for our audience about how to navigate between hallucinations and fact checking and keeping your LLM honest?
Well, I started doing something I call the council method. And basically, I have subscriptions to all five major US AIs. So Perplexity, Claude, Grok, Gemini, ChatGPT. And I will ask each of them the same question, framed the same way, drop it into their own chats. In the beginning, this is how I started anyways, is I would drop it into their own chats, let them all answer, and then I would copy all the answers into one of the chat threads and then do the same for each one of the fours and then make them kind of defend their position and give me a synthesis of all of those into one, right? And then I take each of those five and then put it into the one that I like the most, the one that I talk with the best or whatever, that's going to be actually doing the work in the server or wherever. And then I have it summarize based off of all of the fact finding and arguments and what fell out. Now we have what's factually true and can be proven.
And I love that idea because, again, you are relying less on your personal or anecdotal experience and more on
Yes,
data,
100%.
right?
Yep.
And this is just the problem that humans have in general, is that we see something and we correlate causation to it,
Yep.
or we accept things without truly digging. And now you're kind of solving all of these problems together. Do you
You got to
find
drop your ego because you're going to find out you're wrong a lot.
well, yeah, and I've had some silly experiences where I should have known better, but luckily I took the same approach and I had multiple, models that were answering for me. Talk to me about, this was a part of your book, right? This was a part of
Right.
that
Yep.
the first book. And what was the title of your book? The first
Let
one?
the AI be smart.
Let the AI be smart. And so, and I haven't had a chance to read it. It's just because we met today. But talk to us about that, because that's a big part of or that's one of the parts of the concept of the book, as you were telling me. But it goes beyond that.
So I think that a lot of people, when they end up with a lot of issues in their final product that they get from utilizing AI to code their platform or whatever it is they're trying to create, is that they scope too narrowly without understanding what they're doing, right? So you create this big dream, you've got this big idea, and you want to be able to create it, right? So you start telling AI, I need this, it needs to have this, it needs to have this, it can't have this, it can't do that, it can't do this, right? And then the moment you start giving it the parameters of what to build within, you're just making that box smaller and smaller and smaller of what it can actually do, because now you've given it laws that it cannot violate, right? So it will not be able to think outside the box for you based off of what you're asking for. So one of the things that I do is I say, this is what the end goal is. This is who the end user is going to be. This is kind of what I want it to look and function like. What do I need to have to make this all work the way that I'm explaining it, right? What did I miss in this that is going to be a necessary part of this platform that I'm not wise enough? Like you said, I'm not aged enough in years in this territory to know what I'm missing here, right? Like, so role-based authentication, for one, right? I only learned about that a year ago, like never heard of it before, never been involved in coding or anything, right? But and so that kind of stuff, like knowing that you're going to need that because of the type of platform you're building, is of value as well. And that only comes with the wisdom of age and experience, right? So being able to ask it directly, what did I not think of because I'm too close to this, right? Like, what am I missing here? And then it allows the AI to be smart and go out and figure out all those things and then give you back a whole platform that'll work.
And I love that. And I think that really was the secret sauce. I talked to, I think my past two guests, basically the same thing. One of the things that was eye-opening was, why am I not utilizing this amazing technology to question
Exactly.
my own thoughts, like
Yep.
my own preconditions, my own, subjective nature? Because, especially me, and we just met, but like, I'm very much about correlation doesn't imply causation, and absence of evidence doesn't mean evidence, or yeah, absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. And so, like,
Yes.
I'm always questioning and always trying to push, but I wasn't utilizing the models like that in the beginning. Now I do,
Right,
and it
right.
changed the game
Oh, it's
because,
completely, yeah, dude.
like you said, it's like it will do whatever you want. And I always,
Mhm.
I,
And if you give it a
uh,
leash, it'll stay within it.
and I always say that, it's like a dog. You throw out a bone, sometimes it's going to bring back a branch, but it's just
Right.
happy to bring you back something. If you accept that as
Exactly.
the what you wanted, well, then it's kind of on you. And so, really
Well,
having this,
that comes with the wisdom again, though, right? Because you
yeah.
don't know what you're missing because you scoped it so narrow. It says, "Here we go, we're done. This is what you asked for," and then you go to use it, and it's nothing like you dreamt of because you didn't know all the other stuff to ask.
Could you give some examples of ways that you think that users would make some mistakes like that, scoping a little bit too narrow?
Um, Yeah, so one of the things a lot of people like to do is they'll use their one AI subscription, whatever one they use, right? Like, so it's ChatGPT, let's say. You go into ChatGPT and you say, I want a program that can do this, this, and this, and it can't do that, and it can't do this because you're thinking of like specific situations, maybe that you disliked about an app that you were using, and that's why you're creating this one. Okay, we'll just use that as the example. And so you give it those parameters, and then it comes back with an outline for you, or maybe it starts creating the files for you, and then you start inputting them into a container, and then you have that displayed at your local host or on a website or whatever, so you can look at it and you're like, okay, but none of it works like I said. But it's because you told it can't do this, can't do that, can't do this, and you didn't understand how those things correlate back to the
Mhm.
the things that actually need to work so this app will work the way you envision it to, you know and so that's the scoping too narrow part. You're telling, anytime you tell it what it can't do, I feel like you need to walk through that with nuance in the way that, like, as you're coming to these things, it's going to bring up questions for you as you're designing, right? It's going to be like, so what do you think we should do? Should we go this direction or that direction? And if you're actually reading all of the stuff it gives back to you, then you can kind of see like, oh no, I don't want it to do that. And if you allow it to just kind of spill what its thoughts are around your topic, then you can be like, you'll read it and be like, oh no, that's not how I see it. It needs to work like this. Right. And then you get to explain that back to it. And then you kind of refine that over a period of time. It's not like an instant, give me this platform now. You want to kind of talk to it and refine the idea into what is actually going to be viable and usable.
Yes, yes.